Hey everyone. So this is Atrium. Atrium is a terminal-focused AI dev tool. It provides you with a resumable workspace where you can organize all of your AI work across um, different workspaces, rooms, aka tabs, uh, and then panes within a mosaic. So you can think of the mosaic as a window tiling manager, essentially, can hold a variety of different types of panes. Um, and so I'll launch Claude Code here. So Atrium is built on four principles. Those are organization, persistence, visibility, and control. Organization is essentially your ability to organize your work however you want, organize your panes, open up rooms, name your rooms, whatever you want, name your panes, split rooms. I'll pull up a task pane here, pull up maybe a search pane here. Um, I can have a notepad as well. I can stack it on top and get subtabs within those panes and start drafting a note in Markdown. We've also got other note types. You've got note, sketch, Excalidraw, Canvas, which is a way for AI agents to create a JSON render interactive note for you, and HTML notes, which is really becoming a popular way for AI to communicate with humans. So beyond organization, there's also persistence. So one of the things that frustrated me is I felt like there wasn't a good tool out there that really treated CLI agent sessions as first class features. I always felt like the terminal was kind of buried inside a sidebar or a panel or somewhere, and resuming it was difficult. So um, one of the things I wanted to build was a way to resume. So as soon as I start having a conversation with Claude Code here, you can see it'll rename its pane first, and then if I restart Atrium, it resumes that session automatically for me. So I'll just show you. Let's quit it. Open up fresh. See, it's going to open up. It's going to ask me if I want to resume that session. I can uncheck it if I don't want to, but I'll leave it checked. Launch. You can see it's going to run the resume command. So it's saving all of your session IDs under the hood, and it kicks it back off. So in addition to that persistence through session resuming, we've also got a vault. The vault kind of stores a history of all of your panes. You can also save panes explicitly or rooms, and you can reopen them, you can resume them, you can restore them as templates if you prefer without like actually resuming the sessions. Um, you also get snapshots. These happen on a cadence, customizable in the settings, but it basically takes your entire Atrium directory, which is where all your config, all your state, everything is stored on disk, nothing in the cloud or anything like that. Takes so it turns your Atrium directory into a Git repository essentially, and just runs a Git commit periodically that you can restore to at any time. If you upgrade the app, it'll take a snapshot, Git commit right before updating, just in case. So you've always got durable history of everything that you've done. Makes it really easy to restore from any state, crash, power outage, anything like that. So that's the persistence story, the visibility story. A lot of that is about working with agents. Obviously, a lot of times we have multiple agents. I'm gonna create another workspace here just so we can kind of visualize this. So we'll call this like example workspace 2. Open that. Let's give it a fun emoji. There, so we've got example workspace 2. I'm gonna spin up another agent here. And for fun, we'll spin up a Codex agent here as well. Now you can see, I'm gonna tell this one, tell me a story. So you can see I've got visibility into that now. I can see it on my activity bar. I can see what it's doing. It's gonna show me the tool calls. It's gonna show me my last prompt. Gonna show me what it's doing. And then when it gives me its response, it'll show me that here as well. And I can just click from here to jump back to that. but we'll let it finish. So you can see I also get a notification at the bottom if it's not in the same workspace. If I'm not in Atrium at all, I'll get an OS-based notification that I can click to and go right to that session. I can also just dismiss it from here. When you dismiss, it still saves the session, keeps the pane present, but it releases the terminal basically. So you reclaim all the resources. Any of you that watch your activity monitor regularly, you know that Claude Code, for example, a lot of AI agents chew up a lot of resources, so this can be really useful. So I can click it, show, here's my story. If I dismiss, goes dismissed, I get a nice little like screenshot in the background so I can see it at a glance if I need to, but that terminal is gone now. It's released from memory, but I can just resume it that easily and be ready to go. So then from there, I also have the ability to like move things around later, kind of dims the card, moves it to the bottom. I can actually send a message directly from here as well. So if I'm not in the workspace, say I'm over here, I want to send a message, boom, it sent it, kicked off the work again. I can change views too. If I've got a lot of these open, maybe I want like compact or semi-compact. I can group by workspace if I prefer that. I can hide certain workspaces, etc. That is most of the visibility story. I think I touched a little bit on the control story, but there's a lot more to the control story too. This is one of the best features, I think, of Atrium and one that I find really useful. So there is an Atrium CLI command. Anybody that's used like CMux before is a similar pattern to CMux. It's basically a CLI that allows you to interact with Atrium however you want. And by interact with Atrium however you want, I mean tell your AI agents to interact with Atrium. So of course you can as well, but it's really, really useful for getting Atrium to do stuff. So I'll show you a cool use case. I can tell Atrium like open a browser next to you in this room. And we'll give it a second. It's going to load the Atrium skill first. There's a little bit of context injected into the session start that hints to it when it hears certain terms, it should consider loading the Atrium skill. So it's really reliable at loading the skill. And it loaded up browser pane. So now I can tell it to do a navigability test of the browser pane. So it's going to use the CLI to interact with the browser pane. It can do all sorts of stuff. It can take snapshots, screenshots, navigate, go back, forward, click links, inject scripts, whatever it needs to do. Same sort of behavior that you would expect from something like Playwright or any other browser automation tools. It's not headless, so it's going to run in a pane no matter what, but it works if it's in a background room or something as well. If you're in a different workspace, it can continue doing all this stuff. So you can see it's automating the pane right now. Some more cool stuff you can do with the control of the CLI is I can actually get two agents to interact with each other, which is pretty neat. So I'm going to tell Claude to open a Codex agent beside you in this room and introduce yourself. If you've never gotten two agents to interact with each other before, can be really, really powerful. If you have an agent that's maybe stuck on a hard problem or something, or you want to brainstorm an idea thoroughly or flesh out some architecture, you can get two agents like GPT 5.5 or two models like GPT 5.5 and Opus 4.7 to interact with each other, have a conversation, and flesh out ideas collaboratively, which can be really, really powerful. Codex asking me for permissions. Let's see. So I renamed its pane and it's sending a reply. I should have launched Codex with YOLO mode, but there we go. So you can see they're talking to each other, which is really, really powerful pattern. I love doing it. It can be really useful if you want to like send context to another conversation that you're having and work that way. And you can see, of course, all my agent sessions are getting open here. This is getting a little bit hefty, so I'm gonna go ahead and close one. If I dismiss, it gets shoved to the bottom. You can't see it because of my mug. covering it, but I'll pull it up for you a little bit. So it gets pushed to the bottom here, and you get a hover card as well. You've of course got like collapse views. You get a hover card for all these guys as well. Um, and yeah, that's that. There's a lot more functionality in here. I don't want to make this video a million minutes long, but I'll kind of touch on some of them briefly. So I think I briefly mentioned notes. So there's notes. You've got the Markdown note, the Excalidraw, the Canvas note, which is a JSON render of anything an agent creates, and an HTML note. This can be really cool. You can instruct an agent to like create a user interface for you with JSON render and then interact with it. So I'm actually going to do that. Create a Canvas note with some questions for me to answer. Just testing, nothing serious. So it'll create a Canvas note. I'll come back to that while it's working. We've also got like Git control. So I should probably, here, let's tell this guy to spin up a Next.js site in this project and get in it. So while that's doing that, I'm gonna go back to my activity here. We've also got like an at a glance view that doesn't show the file tree. That can be really useful sometimes too. Sort of a combination of workspace list plus activity. A little bit less functional than activity and workspace, but a good combination of both. So here's my Canvas note. Where did it open it? There we go. Yeah, so here, let's move that here. I think it messed up opening it beside itself. My instructions weren't very clear, but you can see it generated this using JSON render, and there are like 42 components pre-built as part of Atrium that it can use. It's got input fields, radio buttons, checkboxes, sliders, et cetera, charts, all sorts of stuff. And I can say, hey, my name is Johnny. Favorite color is green. My day is recording a cool video, I think, so we'll say a 10. I've had 2 coffees today, and then I send my answers and it just dumps it back to the agent, which can be a really cool way to make your session with an agent a little bit more interactive. Of course, you can also have it generate an HTML form, which can also send information back. All of the communication that happens through the CLI is also exposed as part of a protocol under the hood. So there's the Atrium protocol, which the HTML files can communicate over as well. So tons of ways for you to come up with ways to interact with Atrium. Now, what else was I working on? So let's see. So I had it spin up a Next.js site over here, which is pretty cool. It's got the Next.js site. I think it git initted it. Let's find out. Open up source control. Yeah, there's my commit. Let's see, it's got my commit up. Awesome. Okay. What else do we have to show? Oh yeah. Yeah, let's make a few benign changes. This and commit them, please. So while it's doing that, a couple of other things. So we've also got skills and agents. One of the cool things here is that this pulls all of your skills and agents from all of the workspaces that you have in Atrium, as well as all of your user directories, and it pulls them all in. You can see I have a bunch in here, even though I don't have any agents or Claude directory or anything in these projects. So it pulls these all in, and I can go into an agent, and like this is superpowers brainstorming skill. I can add it there. You can see we use a plus. That's also usable in here. So I can search my skills here, say like brainstorming, and I don't know, sprint health, and it will Atrium will auto load those skills into its context, even if those skills aren't available in the workspace. So, of course, you can use your harness directories within your workspaces. That's really good for project specific stuff, committing. But if you're working on your own and you want to share skills easily across different places, you can. So you can see it loaded both skills just fine. In addition to skills, I can create agents. Agents are really just like a bundle um, of skills and a prompt. So I can give it a prompt. Let's see, greet the user with a warm welcome. And we'll load a skill in there. We can set the skill to be discoverable or preloaded. I'll say preloaded, and we'll just say test agent. So now from here, I can easily load that agent, that test agent, and it'll load the agent, and it's going to greet me with a warm welcome, hopefully. I can also use that in tasks, which is pretty cool. So I'm going to drag that here, create a task, test task, count from 1 to 10. And I'm going to add my test agent to the task and hit create. So then I can launch that task. You can also launch the task in a work tree, which is pretty cool. I didn't even mention that, but Atrium treats Worktrees as a first-class citizen, so I can go to any workspace that has a Git repo. I can right-click it and hit new work tree, create a work tree pretty easily. We support a work tree include as well if you have Git ignored files that you want to copy to your work trees. That's totally doable. But I can create a work tree easily, and it gets nested underneath the workspace. I'll go ahead and create one just to test. We'll call this test branch. Create it, boom, I've got my work tree. Really cool for being able to parallelize work. And of course you can track everything that goes on in those in your activity sidebar. So make some benign file changes here. So it's going to work there. You can see my little indicators. I can see down here, am I working? Just minimize the waiting. I can see it's working. Click it, jump to it, back to the original workspace. Let's see, where else was I? Yeah, so what else do we want to chat through? Sorry, I didn't rehearse this or anything. I didn't script it. Just figured I'd go off the top. We've got an Omni-menu here, which is pretty useful. You can search anything across workspaces, rooms, panes, tasks, files, commands. A lot of what you'd expect in a code editor. We've got a full Markdown editor that you can use. You can also convert it to source mode if you prefer that. You can you've got a full Monaco based IDE. Probably not as good as like VS Code or Cursor, but it works pretty good. It's got jump to definitions and autocomplete and stuff like that. There's no AI based autocomplete in this, but Atrium is sort of built on the premise that you will most likely be communicating with AI agents to do all your work, or for the most part. So maybe that's a feature that comes in the future, but right now it's not. You'll have to write code by hand if you're in here. What else? We've got language servers for a bunch of languages: TypeScript, JavaScript, Rust, Python, handful of others. And let's see, I think that's probably about it. I could probably go on and on, show you some more use cases, but hopefully that's enough for you to sort of understand the value of a tool like this. I hope you find it as useful as I've been finding it. I didn't touch at all on like I probably should have, but there's so we've got diff review as well. I'll sort of mention that briefly because it's before I let you go. So diff review is really cool. You can jump into your Git view. You can also see this attached to tasks, and there are a couple of other ways to see it, but I can go in here. I can add comments. Find this description, hit comment. Then once I have a comment in there, in my diff review on a commit or the working tree or whatever it is, I can then send it to an agent. So I'll pick, I can choose which comments I want to send, preview the message, it'll give to the agent, hit continue, and then I can choose which agent I want to send it to, or I can send it to a new one. I'll do a new one. So I'm going to send that to a new agent. And let's see. So it sends it, it creates a task for the agent to review all those changes. So it's going to go in here. It's going to pull the description and the comments and everything associated with it. You can see it just resolved my comment, or it addressed it, and I can resolve it myself. And that's it. I could do that with a small or large review. I could have 30 comments and send them in a task to an agent. I can pick and choose and split them 15 to one agent, 15 to another agent, however I want to do it. So lots of ways to do that. And yeah, I think that's it. Test it out. I'll throw a link wherever I'm posting this video. I'll share a link, but for anyone just seeing the video, it is getatrium.dev. You can come here, hit download, and it'll download it for you. We've got pretty thorough docs if you want to see them. Pretty thorough docs on everything from workspace and rooms, panes, mosaics, all the way to like the editor, notepad, source control, the library, and the vault. There's a full documentation on the CLI, so you can see everything the CLI is capable of. And configuration. There's diagnostics and stuff. If you run issues, hit me up. There's a Discord. It is linked at the bottom of the site. You can jump into our Discord, click the community link, come in, share bugs, feedback. We're in early access right now, so it is totally free, and you can test it out and hopefully provide me with your feedback so you can shape the future direction. Got a long roadmap, a lot of new features coming, probably workflows. I'm specking out memory system, a couple of other really neat features that I think could be super valuable to anybody working with AI in this way. Yeah, again, hope hope you guys check it out. Hope you find it as useful as I do. I've been using it daily, and maybe this could be valuable for you as well. So thanks for watching. Appreciate it.